Constitutional amendments, just say no. It's a rare occurrence that a newspaper recommends a vote in favor of a state constitutional amendment. Fundamentally, we are uncomfortable with the process. The state constitution, like the federal constitution, is foundational, the structure all else in our political system is built on. You don't fiddle with it every couple of years. It should be shielded from the breezes of popular whim. Unfortunately, when partisans can't convince elected legislators to move on a narrow issue, their efforts fall to option 2, the amendment process. This is often simply an end run around questions more appropriately left to elected representatives, subject to the give and take of the legislative process. So, what we end up with is a little this, a little that patched on the foundation of our permanent document, school class size, solar panels, pot. As a matter of general principle, our default mode is no. This year, there is nothing on the ballot sufficiently important to shift us from that. Our recommendation? No to all. The rundown. Amendment 1, Right of electricity consumers regarding solar energy choice. This amendment was brought to the ballot in a well-funded campaign of the state's largest utilities. The amendment establishes a right under Florida's Constitution for consumers to own or lease solar equipment installed on their property to generate electricity for their own use. But it also would ensure that consumers who do not choose to install solar are not required to subsidize the costs of backup power and electric grid access to those who do not. What that means is established utilities would be constitutionally guaranteed the ability to restrict or charge homeowners and businesses for using utility wires and poles. That may well be justified. But, and this is exactly our point, shouldn't that question be left to the legislature? Floridians already have the right to generate solar power, by law. There is no real reason to put this right in the Constitution. The Sun recommends no. Amendment 2, Use of marijuana for debilitating medical conditions. This was placed on the ballot by Citizens Initiative led by personal injury lawyer John Morgan. Yes, would create the right for people with cancer, AIDS, epilepsy, glaucoma and other debilitating diseases to use marijuana with a physician's prescription. A similar amendment received over 58% of the vote in 2014, falling just short of the 60% threshold needed for passage. Since then, the language about specific diseases was clarified. Parental consent is required for minors. The amendment specifies that the health department will certify distribution centers and issue ID cards to physicians and patients. At this moment, 25 states and the District of Columbia have laws that allow limited use of medical marijuana. In 2014, Florida's legislature passed a law allowing ingested, low-THC marijuana for cancer patients. Earlier this year, that was broadened to allow more potent medical cannabis for terminal patients. Opponents believe this is a slippery slope toward legalization. Proponents believe it's a matter of compassion. But again, this can be handled in the legislature. The question already has been dealt with in the legislature. It doesn't rise to the level of a constitutional issue. The Sun recommends a no vote on Amendment 2. Amendment 3. Tax exemption for totally and permanently disabled first responders. This was brought to the ballot through unanimous vote of the legislature. It would give the legislature the ability to pass a law providing property tax relief for first responders who are disabled by injuries received directly in the line of duty. In this case, constitutional authorization must be granted before the legislature can act. If the measure gets the required 60%, lawmakers may fail to act, but that is extremely doubtful. A sympathetic cause, no doubt. But we'll stand on principle. The Sun recommends a no vote on Amendment 3. Amendment 5, Homestead tax exemption for certain senior, low-income, long-term residents. According to the nonprofit Florida Tax Watch, this doesn't create a new exemption but allows elderly residents, whose income is below $20,000 and who have lived in their homes for more than 25 years, to continue to receive homestead exemptions when their home's value rises about $250,000. Basically, it is protection from housing value inflation. This is an adjustment to existing law, and was placed on the ballot by the legislature. Still, it's more of the same. The Sun recommends a no vote.